Today we are talking about healthcare. Now, exactly what is healthcare? People ask. Healthcare is basically just annual medical care for a community. Now, as the Troublecan Party, we believe that you should be able to work for your healthcare, whether it's just any old job like working at McDonald's, or you can also be a major CEO of a business company. We still believe that everyone should have healthcare, but you must be able to work work a little bit for it. Now, also, healthcare should be available to everyone. We will have at least it available to every community. We will do our best to. Now, due to the recent pandemic due to the recent pandemic outbreak on our hands, we have been a little bit busy. This COVID-19 coronavirus has been a big trouble. Now, it has been recently been labeled a pandemic, but that's nothing to worry about. Pandemic just means that it's a widespread. Well, as an epidemic, you try to actually contain the disease. Basically, in a pandemic, we're just trying to mitigate it, which means just trying to keep everyone safe, like social distancing, like closing down schools, and other things like that. Now, also, you might be wondering, what was it? Where did it come from? Well, it was originally called the Wuhan virus, due to its origin in Wuhan in China. Now, all we really know so far is that two citizens showed up to a market with this strange disease that no one really knew what came from it. And you think it could have come from any old animal, like a rat, a bat, something like that, but we're not sure. Now, also, people may be what freaking out about this and thinking, what can I do? Well, you don't need to wear masks or anything. You just need to stay inside and wash your hands. Washing your hands helps because the coronavirus has done research and we have found out that it has similar symptoms to the flu. So what really helps is washing your hands. Specifically the soap, it helps break down the coating surrounding the coronavirus. And please remember that our nominee, Brent Gleason, will be doing his best to keep us safe. And please remember his name, Brent Gleason, 2020, Troublecan. He was doing his best to protect American society. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bryce Johnson, and I am the vice presidential candidate for the Troublecan Party. Our party has some very great ideas on how to deal with the current issues of gun laws and guns just being a killing issue in general. Firstly, we are not going to remove guns from the picture. We were given the opportunity to bear arms from the founding fathers. However, when they decided to allow us to bear arms, they did not expect for the firearms to become as advanced as they are. With this in mind, we're going to change how easily a person can get a firearm. We're going to tighten background checks and make sure that we are putting this weapon in the hands of someone that will do no harm. One thing I feel people forget in this day and age is people kill, not guns. Although people use guns to kill, people also use knives and other objects that are easier to get than guns. By tightening background checks, we will make it harder for everyone to get a firearm. Now, I am aware that this will upset some people that, go recreational shooting or just shoot for fun. But we feel like this is what needs to happen. When someone buys a gun, they pay for it, they get the background check, and then they have instant satisfaction. With our process, the buyer will have to wait 48 hours while the FBI is doing a background check deeper into the past of the potential buyer. If the buyer is not seen fit, they will not be allowed to purchase this firearm. And if they seem as if there's somebody of suspicion, they will be questioned. It is a big priority of our party to cut down on the amount of killings. However, the United States has around 393,347,000 firearms in civilian possession. Yes, we are aware that this is enough for each person to at least be given one firearm. This is why we will be opening stations that people can bring their unwanted firearms and sell them to the government. This process will remove extra firearms. Although this process will not be mandatory, it will be encouraged. Along with legal firearms, we will be purchasing illegal firearms. Illegal firearms are sold without the government knowing, so when you purchase a gun, it gets registered to your name. These firearms are registered under somebody else's name, or they just can't be. They could be registered under nobody's name at all. We believe that these buyback programs will subtract from the amount of firearms that the United States has as a whole, but also we believe that it will subtract the amount of illegal firearms. And illegal firearms are normally used in the killings. That's why we worry a little bit about what people will think about us changing the amount of time, but we just need to slow down the process in general. I want to assure the people of America that the firearms will not be taken from you, and Brent can do that. We believe that the opportunity to arm yourself is crucial to your American liberty. When voting for Brent, only good things can come from it, because he is the best man for the job. So now I'm going to talk about the Troublecan Party view on abortion. The Troublecan Party has very firm Catholic beliefs, and we believe that abortion should not be allowed in the United States, but we do have two exceptions for this. The first exception is if the mother will be harmed while giving birth to the baby. We believe that it is important to protect our mothers so they can continue to nurture our great country. And while I'm talking on the topic of women, I just want to thank them for everything that they've done for this country. You know, we wouldn't be where we are today without them. Secondly, if the woman was raped, she will be allowed to have an abortion. Although we are aware that people can lie about being raped, it's on our conscience that, you know, we're trying to do something good for somebody that was sexually harmed, but whatever happens on their conscience falls upon them. So just a couple facts about, you know, babies. The baby's heart begins to beat 5 to 6 weeks into gestation. At that moment, we believe that the baby is alive and that no harm should be done to this baby. It is a defenseless gift from God that should never be harmed. Thank you for your time, and please vote for Brent.
Let's talk about foreign policy. The shape of our foreign policy will include a foundation on continuing to build a strong defense in prioritizing the security of our border, improving diplomatic relations with our allies and continuing to neutralize rogue countries, creating economic wealth via free and fair trade, while strengthening key domestic industries and supporting public health and human rights worldwide. We will protect both the health and security of Americans and major U.S. interests. The first tenet of our foreign policy is defense and security. We will continue to support congressional spending on the military, with an emphasis on cybersecurity and preventing disinformation attacks. We will consolidate our cyber forces under the Department of Defense. We will continue our fight against global terrorist organizations, committing our troops to fight only in selective situations, preferring diplomatic efforts first. And we will continue to isolate those governments that sponsor terrorism, specifically North Korea and Iran, engaging them in multilateral negotiations to halt their sponsorship of terror. The next tenet of our foreign policy is diplomacy and human rights. We will continue to invest, promote, and strengthen our founding fathers' ideas of individual liberty and constitutional government. Human rights continue to be violated around the world, and we cannot solve all human rights problems. Our first priority will be to work with our allies against oppressive government regimes. We will improve our diplomatic relationships with our allies and return to a more collaborative mode. This collaboration will not alter our unique American strengths, but only improve our unique American identity. The next tenet of our foreign policy is our economic foreign policy. Our approach is based on free and fair trade. We will gradually reduce the barriers and tariffs with countries upon reciprocal removals of regulations and barriers in other countries. We will also support a more balanced approach to global trade, balancing multilateral trade agreements with selective bilateral trade agreements. Particularly, we will leverage multilateral approaches with our allied trading partners to address unfair trade practices by specific countries. We will also work in conjunction with the World Bank and the IFC in order to provide foreign aid to developing countries in support of their economic development plans. The final tenet of our foreign policy is on health and human rights. We will invest in spending bills in Congress that increase global health programs. We will also work to improve maternal health and child survival, expand family planning options, decrease the incidence of infectious diseases, and fight against the global HIV/AIDS epidemic. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, we will invest millions of dollars over the next 4 years to support a global health security epidemic alert and response system in order to protect Americans from the direct threat posed by the potential global resurgence of an infectious disease. And we will work with all stakeholders to find innovative ways to provide incentives for research on new interventions, while ensuring that patients in need everywhere have access to drugs and vaccines within effective healthcare systems. While there are other aspects to our foreign policy plans, these are the most important that I can assure you that our candidate will support. Thank you, and vote for Brent.
Hi, my name is Elliot Rogers, and I'm here to tell you about Brent Gleason and Bryce Johnson's plan for foreign policy. Our stance on foreign policy is that we love immigration. America was built on it. As long as the people immigrating go through the proper legal process required to enter our country, then they can stay as long as they want. We believe that diversity through immigration can lead to great deals of success. However, when people try to gain access to our country illegally, we will take proper legal action to deal with these aliens. According to a 2011 government report, the arrests attached to the criminal alien population included an estimated 25,000 people for homicide, 42,000 for robbery, nearly 70,000 for sex offenses, and nearly 15,000 for kidnapping. In Texas alone, within the last 7 years, more than 250,000 criminal aliens have been arrested and charged with over 600,000 criminal offenses. Any number greater than 0 is an issue. Me and my team will try our best to limit those who come into the country to commit crimes. All illegal immigrants and their children will be deported. However, if their child is a citizen and was born in the U.S., we will put them in our foster home program. The government will crack down on illegal immigration, for living in our country is a privilege and not a human right. We understand that people want to come to America and work, which is why they can travel over as a documented immigrant and work as much as they'd like. There are plenty of jobs for them, and we love to see our nation's employment rate increase as much as possible. We hate to see the crime rate increase. A recent study from the Cato Institute claims that the arrest rate for illegal immigrants was 40% below that of native-born Americans. But what they won't tell you is there are many, many more Americans than illegals. Therefore, this data is inaccurate due to the population of illegals not being taken into account. I say anything we can do to lower the crime rate, we will take. Our job is not to kick people out of this country, but we will do whatever it takes to keep the American people safe. Our main goal is to protect the American citizens. President Gleason himself comes from a family of immigrants, and he wishes everybody could partake in the greatness and success of our country. The American people deserve safety, and you can count on us to enforce it. Thank you.
Brent Gleason is. We were out in public one time, and there was this homeless man, and Brent went out of his way to help him. He bought him a sandwich from Chick-fil-A and just, tried to help him in any way that he could. And I just think that's really like the type of person that the United States needs, is somebody that'll go out of their way, to help people in need, and I think that Brent's that man.
And I would like to tell you all about how much of a wonderful person Brent Gleason is. He is a presidential nominee for the Troublecan Party, and when I was having in my time of need, I had a financial crisis, and Brent offered his help for me. He offered me a job and a place to work. He even offered me a home while my loan was being paid off. Again, my name is Sam Robson, and I would like you all to vote Brent Gleason for Troublecan Party.
I am Brent Gleason, and I approve this message.
Hello, my name is Brent Gleason. I am the presidential candidate of the the Troublecan's Party, and I would like to first just thank everybody for taking the time out of their day to be here with me, just hear a little bit about me. So let me start off by just telling you a little bit about myself, where I come from. I am the youngest of four. I have mother, father, born in Indianapolis, just your normal, everyday, average guy. I went to high school at Cathedral High School, and just I had a very nice, simple upbringing. Nothing too special. I'm just your average, everyday Joe. So let me tell you a little bit about what the Troublecans are all about. So we have a lot of more conservative sides, beliefs, if you will. So let me just tell you about some of the little stances we believe in. Our stance on gun control: we believe very, very firmly in protecting our Second Amendment right. We think that it was our country, one of the things our country was built on, and we don't think that should change anytime soon. Our view on immigration, that's a really big one. So we intend to, if I'm elected president, then we intend to make sure there is a very, very sharp control on illegal immigrants. We have no problem with immigration. We think it's actually, in fact, a very good thing and very good for diversity in our country. However, there is a legal process and there are means that need to be followed in order to allow immigrants into this country. Healthcare, we do not believe in free united healthcare. We believe that everything has a price, and we think that, and if you want free healthcare, then the taxes will have to increase, and we don't want that for the American citizens. We believe that if you work and you work hard, then you will be able to pay for your own healthcare, and that's what we believe in. And another one of our big goals is to get rid of and find a replacement for Obamacare if I'm elected president, because it has caused us so much debt, and it is still hitting us to this day, many years after the Obama administration has left office. And so we really think that we should get a hold on that. And lastly, one of our big stances is we are pro-life. We think that it should be a national law that abortion is illegal. We think that it is considered murder. People who have committed abortions or people who do that should be tried or punished as those who commit first-degree murder. So those are just a little bit about our stances, and a little bit about who I am and who the Troublecans are. Thank you very, very much for your time, and vote Brent Gleason 2020.